Hi, my name is Marie. In my new studio, I like to make things in my new studio. I like to make those things, and then I like to turn around in my studio and show you how I made those things. Welcome to my new studio. That was absolutely wrong. Let's do that again. Okay, yeah, let's just do it again. Hi, my name is Marie, and I like to make things, and I like to turn around and show you how I made those things. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. I missed your faces and your comments and all that good stuff. I miss you so much. But what we're really here for is not because we miss each other. We're here for making a project, and this is a project that we're going to make today. I'm going to show you the supplies, and then we're going to get right into it. Okay? Yay. This right here is 16 gauge copper wire, gold plated. Okay, now this is an 8-inch piece here. Okay, and then we're going to be needing a little teeny weeny, I think this is, we're going to say this is a 2 millimeter. We got a 2 millimeter bead here that we're going to use to go into our little spot right here on our heart. Okay, and basically all the pliers that you would need: some cutters, some chain nose, a flat nylon pliers for flattening things, and then I have some loopers here that I'm going to be using, a little bit of, more loopers, chain nose. So these are basically the simple tools that you would need. You don't need anything special. Instead of using these pliers, you can also use a Sharpie to make a shape. Okay, you don't need to have expensive tools, but if you do need them, all the tools will be located in the description box below. The measurement is very important for this part here. Okay, so I'm going to just take some simple chain nose pliers here. Now, the key, let me show you I always show you the anatomy of whatever product we're going to make here. Okay, if you look at this heart here, okay, what we're going to be doing is we're going to start at this point where we're doing our little heart shape. Okay, so we're going to start at that top. Now, in order for us to create this entire shape, we have to make sure that one side is way longer than the other side. Okay, we have to make sure one end is longer, way longer than the other end. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that. I've calculated very carefully, hopefully it's right, that I want to grab my 8-inch wire here, whereas this part right here is really short, this part right here is really long. Now, as opposed to the measurements of it, it does not matter, just as long as you're in the ballpark of it. Okay, because if you're a little off, we can always change that up a little bit. You can always change it, make the heart smaller or make the heart bigger in order to make the measurements work. But for the most part, this is how I did this initial shape. This is how I did it. Okay, we're going to do our initial bend. Boom. Okay, the bend doesn't have to be as sharp as how I made it, so I'm gonna just bend it out just a little bit. Nothing crazy. Okay, nothing crazy. Now I am going to take my cute little nifty pliers here. I'm going to take the really smaller end of it all, and I'm going to bend my wire around that. So placing my pliers like this, as close to my bend as I can get it before it misshapens everything. And I am going to take my wire and just bend it around. We're not using the pliers, but to just shape it. We're not moving the pliers, we're not doing anything special. Okay, now I'm going to switch sides. All right, and I'm going to do that same shape on the other side. Just bend it, nothing special. Now from this point, I am going to be trying to shape this to see what kind of shape I'm going to get. All right, so if I want to play around with this shape just to see what I can make it, you know, if I want to make the heart smaller, I can do that, or I can make it larger, I can do that also. All right, so I just want to make sure that it is flattened as much as it can be. Okay, so we should have this shape once we get done with finagling it, but this should be the initial shape of it all. It doesn't have to be crazy accurate, okay? So as you can see, we got the shorter end here and we got the longer end here. All right, so when it comes to the shorter end, we want to make sure that that shorter end ends up inside of the heart. Like with this example here, I have the shorter end is inside the heart, okay? And then the longer end will be on the outside. Now I'm going to show you how to do that. I grab my little chain nose pliers here. And so right at the point where the wires cross here, I want to make sure I'm giving myself enough room for this short end wire to end up inside of this heart. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply take the wire and just bend it in. Okay, so now as you can see, it's on the inside of our heart. Okay, and I'm going to pull this out so you can see it. All right, so now the shorter end is inside of the heart. Now we want the longer end to go to the outside and towards the top of our heart. So to do that, we're going to take our pliers and I'm going to go down a little bit further. As you can see here, I'm going to go down a little bit further so that we have enough room to work with for our wire wrapping. Okay, so I'm going to bend the wire. And so as you can see, this is how they're going to lay. We got the shorter one inside the heart, the longer end outside the heart. Now I want to get this bent up to the top of our heart here. Okay, to do that, I'm going to use the same pliers that I use to create the heart shape. I am going to put it inside of the heart in the same area where I did the initial bend. Okay, and then I'm going to take the wire and just bend it around till it is bendy, bendy, bendy around our little heart. Just like this. Okay. It will look just like that, somewhere like that, and that's good. Okay. Now, next what I'm going to do is I want to take and make a little loop in the inside, because that's where we're going to have our little 2mm beads sitting. Okay, so I'm just going to use some simple loopers to do that really quick. Nothing crazy, and you can have it wherever you want to. If you want to have it at the top of your heart, you can have it at the top of your heart, but I kind of want it a little ways down, so I gave myself enough to work with that I can bend it and put the loop wherever I want to put it. Okay, all right, so I want mine to be a little bit down, so that's where I ended up with my little loop here. Okay, inside of my heart. Now let me cut it to make it all nice and neat. I'm going to use my nylon pliers real quick. Let's use them to flatten out our loop. It doesn't have to be crazy. I like the way that looks. All right, so this is the loop I ended up with. I like it. All right, so now we're getting towards the area at the top here. Now, when we start to do this, we want to make sure that our loop will be right in the top of our heart. So your chain nose, this is just easier for me. I take and I bend the wire, and it's really hard with 16-inch but it's really, really hard with 16 gauge wire to do this, but I bent it up, okay? Because then we're gonna create our loop from that angle. So much better. Then I try not to bend, I try not to like move my hand all the way around. I like to use my fingers to just bend the wire. And so we got a loop at the top of our heart. Now I'm going to cut the wire. And all right, so we cut our wire, and now we have a loop at the top of our heart. Let me close this loop a little bit better. It don't have to be special. It just needs to be a loop. All right, so there goes our basic outline of our shape. Now I'm going to take my nylon pliers and I'm going to flatten this all out. Make sure everything is flattened, and we're going to make sure that we have at least our shape. Okay, I like it. So now we have our heart shape. Now you can attach your bead on here and just go on with your life, put it on a necklace and just move on. I want to create this wire wrapping design around the edge, give it a little bit more interest, a little bit more pizzazz. So I'm going to show you how I did that. I'm using 26 gauge copper wire. I pulled off a piece here. I'm going to measure it real quick. So grab yourself a little, I'll say a 2-foot piece of this 26 gauge copper wire, okay? Now I'm gonna start, you see how much I'm leaving here? This looks to be about like 2 inches or so. Measurements. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap this around this end where the bead is going to go. I'm gonna wrap that twice. All right. So we're going to be using a combination of just wrapping it and some chain nose pliers in order to squeeze it all together, okay? So I'm wrapping it twice, and I'm just going to leave this end out because we're going to attach our bead to it later on, okay? We're not attaching a bead just yet. So as you can see, I wrapped around both wires 3 times, and then I wrapped around one wire twice. And I'll keep doing that over and over again to create a design and a pattern, okay? So you have to keep to that pattern because otherwise it's gonna look like a hot mess, and you don't want it to look like a hot mess. So again, we're gonna be using a combination of wrapping it as tightly and as closely as possible and our chain nose to keep that all together, and squishing it down also with some nylon pliers. We're gonna start with, I'm gonna wrap around both wires. We're gonna wrap around both wires 3 times. So there, we got 3 times we wrapped around these wires. I'm gonna flatten it real quick. So I wrapped it around 3 times. Now we are going to wrap around this outside wire. We're gonna wrap around that 2 times. So I'm just wrapping it by going up over this wire. So I'm gonna wrap this, I wrapped it once. Now we're gonna go around to get in between the 2 wires, and we're gonna wrap it twice. Now I'm gonna push it up between and go around both wires. And I'm gonna do that how many times? 3 times, okay? So make sure you're putting the wires next to each other and not over top of each other. Otherwise, you remember that hot mess I was talking about? That's what you're gonna get, okay? So let's look at that. We got 3 around both wires, 2 times around one wire, 3 times around both wires, and now I am going to do 2 times around one of the wires. Just pull the wire through just to wrap it around the one wire twice. So there you go. Now I'm going to wrap it around both. And I'm going to wrap that 3 times around both wires. Okay. Now we are going to continue that all the way up to the top here. Okay. Feel free to rewind the video and watch it again and go from there. Now we're going around both wires, and I'm going to keep doing this until I get all the way up to this top part here. So this is why it's so important for you to stick to the pattern, be patient, take your time, because then that's when you start to get this nice design. You can start to see how the pattern starts to work for you, okay? And it gives you a nice little design there, okay? So I'm at the end of my design. So what I do next is I got to do 3 more wraps around both wires, paying attention and making sure that I'm wrapping my wires next to each other as I go and not on top of each other. Okay, so here's my 3rd wrap. Paying attention that I am wrapping them next to each other, but not on top of each other, okay? Squish it as you go, okay? And then now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna end the wire by like wrapping it around one wire a couple times. When I cut my wire, this is another thing that's really important, okay? When I cut my wire, I want to make sure that I am cutting it where it is either hidden or not sticking out where it can snag on things. So as you can see, I have it around just this top wire right here, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it so that I can take the extra and just push it right underneath. Okay, so I have this little piece here. I'm just gonna really carefully just squish it down, squish, so that it can be hidden. It can be hidden and not going to come out and snag on my clothes later on. Okay, so this is what I have. It's squished down and it's not going to snag. And the way you find that out is just rub your hand along it, and if you have any extra wires that are sticking out that can snag on things, you'll feel it if you rub your hand on it. Okay, so this is what we have. So I wrapped it up so that it can get as close to my loop as possible. Now I am going to find where I'm constantly doing this. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use this bead, yay, and then I lose the bead. So I found the bead and I am going to string this bead on. Ooh, that looks cute. I like it. Okay, so we strung our bead on and we're just going to wrap it so that the bead doesn't come loose. Okay, so I'm gonna do that by just wrapping it around, using my chain nose to grab, and do it as tightly as I can. Okay, and I'm going to do that a couple times. Okay, grab my chain nose. I don't know if I had to choose what pliers are my favorite. Chain nose are definitely up there because I can grab really tiny wires with this. So it's up to you how many times you want to wrap this around. I think I'm gonna do it one more time. Okay. All right, let me push that wire through. There we go. Grab my chain nose. Just do it one more time. And I like to have my wires not on top of each other because remember when I was telling you about the hot mess? We don't want a hot mess, okay? It may look like I'm wrapping it one more time, but I'm not. I'm gonna cut the wire again where really close to my loop, to the inside of my loop, so that I can just squish the end down, cut it. And I'm going to take my chain nose and I'm going to push that in. Rub your hand on it, rub your fingers on it, nothing sticking up. And then here is our finished item here, okay? Now, what I like to do is take my nylon pliers and I'm just going to squish this down so that it's all uniform. And then all you have to do is slip this on a necklace, okay? I like the way this is pointing if you want to put a jump ring on it. So from this point, you're not going to put it on a necklace like this. You're going to put a jump ring here. Or if you're like, I just want to put this and connect it to a necklace, you need to have this loop pointing in this direction, okay? Front to back. Because if you have it pointed front to back, then it will lay flatly. I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm gonna put it on a necklace. So once you put it on a necklace, now it's gonna lay flat because we changed the direction of the loop, okay? Now I'm gonna put this on and so that you guys can see what it looks like. I love this little stone that I have in there. It's so perfect for it. So that's what it looks like. Ain't she cute? I like it. I love how I can't see it. I love how it's not really even. It's very imperfect. It's not like perfect. I don't like things that are too perfect. I love the way that it kind of hangs off to the side a little bit. You can make it look that way or you could just move it around. But yeah, this is what she looks like. I like it. So you guys, I wanted to ask you a question, okay? Now, my question is, I've been kind of getting away from wire wrapping and such. What I mean by that is not like exactly getting away from wire wrapping, still doing wire wrapping, but I've been getting into a lot of like beaded jewelry, like just all beads with thread and needle situation. I don't know if you guys want to learn that. That's why I wanted to ask you, because I'm like, I love doing it and I've been collecting a lot of seed beads. Yeah. Seed beads. Used to be wire, used to be yarn. Now I've been collecting a lot of seed beads. I have a problem. So I have to use it all. And I want to teach you guys what I've learned so far. So I'm going to show you a couple things that I made beaded, and you let me know in the description box below. Not in the description box below. Oh my gosh. You let me know in the comments whether this is something that you want to learn or if you're like, just leave it alone. You let me know. I'm going to show you a couple pieces that I have been making. So I made this. These are a pair of beaded earrings that I made, pattern I created. I have another pair of earrings. Got the mountains in different colors. You can change those colors. This guy. And then I also, not only earrings have I been making, I've been making bracelets too, okay? So I made this one. This is a pattern that I actually bought. And so I've been making bracelets like that too. So I made this yesterday. So I'll show you a link to the video that I actually got this pattern from. But basically look at it. It's like daisies. It's so cute. And then you just connect a jump ring and a lobster claw to it and you're good to go. I'm just wondering if you guys want to learn how to do beading mixed in with some wire wrapping. I'm down for it. You let me know. And I will also connect you to the person who really did inspire me to do this beading. So I've learned all my beading from her. Snails and Fairy Dust, I love her to bits and pieces. So I will create a link in the description box below where you can check out all her videos. And she has so many good beginner tutorials, because if I didn't have her beginning tutorials, I will be lost. So I have like all the supplies and I'm ready to go. You guys let me know, okay? So as usual, you guys, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy seeing me again. Yay! Okay, so I guess what we need to do is say bye. Okay? Yay. Oh, this is my good side.